Welcome. Great to see you. Thank you for your patience. Have a great day. Stay safe.
Ms. Richardson, call me if you have any questions.
And then Miss Rudder, make sure drug court knows that she's in person and not on Zoom so that they can come in person and not Zoom in.
Okay, I believe Mr. Yancey should be coming down, but I'll call back and make sure they know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm ready on Watts. I'm gonna try to put my other device back in the waiting room and see if I can manage on my main door. I'm not going to keep bringing Mr. Watts in off video. I'm not going to keep waiting for Mr. Watts. I'm not going to keep waiting for Mr. Watts.
Your Honor, I've been in here.
Yeah, you're supposed to. You're supposed to wait for me. But when I bring you back in, your camera should be on and you should be stationary, seated in an upright position, ready to go. I shouldn't have to sit here and say, we're ready on Watts. We're ready on Watts. I shouldn't have to do that. I am ready on Watts. This is case number 146472101. The people of the state of Michigan versus Deontay Trayshawn Watts. Defendant is charged with 1 count of controlled substance possession of marijuana. Today is the date set for pretrial conference. Appearances, please.
For the record, Your Honor, Christina Ritter on behalf of the people.
Janice Stevenson appearing on behalf of Mr. Deontay Watts. Mr. Watts, sir, please say your full name.
Deontay Trayshawn Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. Today, I thought Mr. Watts was in front of me before. He wasn't. This isn't.
I think I zoomed in on the mistake on your credit.
Oh, on the wrong day. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so today is the day set for a pretrial conference from a 2014 case where the charge is possession of marijuana that is currently legal. How are we proceeding?
Your Honor, at this time, to the age of the case and the nature of the charges, Your Honor, the people motion to dismiss in the best interest of justice.
Okay. Now, I don't like the fact that it's legal. Mr. Watts, what you doing, sir? Why I can see your eyes and nothing else? Okay. There we go.
I'm making sure my face in the camera. And last time I came out, I wasn't sure if you meant to zoom me in last time because you was calling for Brooke, so I wasn't sure if you went on my camera. And I'm sorry for the inconvenience, though, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. I appreciate it. You seem like such a nice young man. I want you to stop smoking weed, though. But I know it's legal. You don't have to say nothing. I don't want it to be legal because it smells so bad. But to me, anyway. All right. The people have moved to dismiss the matter in what they said is the best interest of justice. And I guess it might be since now, the marijuana is kind of legal. So I am going to dismiss the matter in that the people no longer wish to prosecute you, Mr. Watts, based on the age of the case and the current state of the law. We are going to mail you a copy of that order of dismissal for your records, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Have a great day, Mr. Watts. Stay safe, and I ain't gonna say nothing else.
You too, Your Honor. You have a good day, Your Honor.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
What's up, people? How we doing? It feels so good to be live. I apologize for not being live as much as I should, but if you remember, I started in February, which was dead in the middle of the school year, so I had all my classes situated, and I was able to go live at night because I didn't have so much going on. I'm working towards that. As you can see, I'm live, and it's a Tuesday, so I'm going to be live more, I promise. Cases coming at you. Premieres every day I can. Believe me, I still love providing quality content to you guys every single day. How we doing? And guess what? I don't even need an OnlyFans page to be. Look, I don't even have to show anything or anything like that like other people. But, that's neither here nor there. How we doing, Rebecca? I see a lot of new names in the chat. I love to see that. We are close to 28K. Oh boy, I can't wait till I get that plaque. It is coming. That play button will be right behind there. I can't wait. And it's all because of you guys. So I was going back and forth whether to play part 1 or part 2 of the ladies. So since I'm going live more, I'm going to play that in its entirety. But today I found one from Judge Kyle that has to be played. It is great. I changed the thumbnail. This one's going to be good. So without further ado, court is now in session. Let's get it rolling. How we doing? Let's go to the show. Let's roll. Okay, so we are going to do it to it. So,
the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the
all
whole
right, so I'll
truth,
give
and
you a
nothing
little
but
breakdown here. We have Mom Bottom. We have our friend of the court, Mr. Kyle. And this guy is a card. So, a lot of accusations. Don't know if it's true. Dad, father-in-law gets on, then he gets to speak. I have this in its entirety. Let's get rolling.
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
So we've got an hour and a half for today. So if we can't finish, we'll have to move to another date. I know there are some witnesses that are in the court's waiting room. Are those witnesses that you have, Ms. Morrison?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, did you say Mr. or Mrs. Morrison?
Do you have any witnesses in this case, or is it just your testimony?
I do. I have my father, my mother, my current boyfriend, and then I have my friend Sean Gates, who will be testifying as well. He is almost here. He had to leave work to come. Should be here any moment.
Okay. Did you want to call your witnesses first, or did you want to provide testimony yourself first?
I would like to provide testimony myself with my exhibits, please.
Oh, she does.
Okay. All right. So this is your opportunity to proceed with your testimony, ma'am.
Okay. I've never done this before. Am I asking you to look at each exhibit before I reference it?
Yes. Did you provide copies to the other party?
Yes, sir, I did.
What are you looking for?
Let me make
Drop
sure
some.
I get these exhibits pulled up on my end.
Doesn't he just yell out douche, Mr. Morrison? Look at him. And come, seriously, Siberian tiger
I'm gonna
poster in the back.
grab- One moment, I'm gonna grab a different computer.
Where'd you go? I just had to get this started. This mass confusion in the beginning.
Jesse came home hours late.
Okay, here we go.
Gave it to the court.
So, thank you, sir.
All right, and sir, do you have a copy of that?
I was having trouble getting it to load. It's not. I have part of it loaded up, but I'm having the same problems with the PowerPoint presentation myself.
All right, ma'am. So we may run into some issues. I don't know if you're able to introduce all these as exhibits, or if you may just have to testify. So this is, I guess, your chance then to proceed forward and see what you can get in as evidence.
Okay, I do have myself, I have my entire PowerPoint presentation printed out. So I do have it in front of me. Would it be okay with you, Your Honor, if I still refer to everything as Exhibit A and Exhibit B, C, D?
That would be fine, yes.
Okay, would it be all right if I start then, sir?
Yes.
Okay, so in Exhibit A, it says it was July 30th, 2022. It says, in this video, you will see evidence from my parents, Alex and Mark Shirley, and I, Melissa Morrison, coming to the house I shared with Jesse Morrison, the defendant. We did not expect to see him there, as after the abuse the night before, I had locked the house up and stayed at my parents' house for safety. In this video, you will hear Jesse admitting to violently attacking me the night before, while I was holding my daughter in my arms trying to escape from his abuse. On July 29th, 2022, Jesse came home from a night out partying. I found out later that he had stayed up the entire night with no sleeping, both drinking and using cocaine, and he came at about noon to pick us up. When he got home, we had plans to go to the farmer's market. Jesse came home hours late and immediately picked us up and brought us to town. On our way there, I noticed that he was making very unsafe driving decisions, which is very unlikely of Jesse. And I could tell by his mood he was exhausted and a fight would be coming soon. I made sure to ask him if I could drive in a gentle way so I wouldn't upset him any further, which still yet caused him to become more violent and aggressive with his driving. He was swerving, he was yelling obscenities at drivers, making very unsafe decisions in the car with both Aria and I along for the scary ride. He also started yelling, stressing about how stupid I was, and he was driving perfectly fine. When we got home, Jesse aggressively swerved into our apartment parking lot, and and when he pulled into our house, Aria and I tried to hurry and grab our produce her and I had just picked out specifically at the market and run for our safety. Jesse decided we weren't moving quick enough, and he grabbed a bag of produce and threw it out of the car. The produce being specifically fruits Aria had picked out for herself, and it made Aria very distraught.
Lemons and orange on the freeway.
I knew from previous abuse that we had to run and hide as fast as we could, so I ran with Aria into the bathroom and tried locking ourselves in for our protection. Aria knew from previous abuse and trying to hide from our dad from her dad for our safety that if she is being held by me, who was also trying to keep the door closed and on the hinges, that it was a high chance of her getting hurt by Jesse as well. So Aria ran into the bathtub and she hid face down while I attempted to keep the door locked and on the hinges. Jesse continued to try to beat the door in, and when Jesse was successful with beating the door down, I was screaming things like, "You're scaring us, please stop." I then grabbed Aria and tried to run for the door when Jesse ran after us, grabbing me by my pants loop and yanking my whole body backwards, all while I was holding Aria in my arms. This caused Aria to come within just about an inch away from hitting her head on the wall as we both crashed towards the ground. Very soon after, I was able to successfully call my parents and a friend who came to our rescue. My friend said that Aria held onto her leg, clinging for dear life, which is very out of character considering she was slightly impartial towards showing affection towards my friend. Aria also got into my dad's car, immediately asking him, "Are you going to protect me from my daddy?" Please see my father's testimony in regards to this day. Jesse says in this video that is along with Exhibit A, things like, "I know I'm a piece of the S word. I'm trying to make up for the mess that I made last night," all while keeping an eerily calm demeanor about needing to get ready for work, eat, and shower, when just hours before he was assaulting me with my daughter, breaking the stove, which resulted in my 5 cats chewing and playing in the glass, him ironically throwing several of my "I'm sorry I abused you" plants all around the house, him breaking dishes and many other household items in a terrifying fit of rage. This unsafe, violent behavior was a normal occurrence in our household due to Jesse's habitual alcohol and cocaine usage. It is my strong belief that Jesse's moral fitness and addictions to alcohol and other drugs leave him incapable of providing a safe and healthy, stable environment for Aria. I feel that if we do not have supervised visits, her immediate health and wellness could be in danger. And then that is when, I'm not sure how much of your PowerPoint is loading, but I have 3 videos of the evidence of the physical abuse from that day. Video of the stove being broken because he threw one of the mugs that I got him at it, completely shattering it. And this was a house that we were renting, and this stove was brand new to us. Like, nobody had used this stove before.
OG Addy.
I guess I'm not sure. Do you guys play the videos, or do I just move on
The
to exhibit?
videos on the drive that I have do not play.
Ugh.
On both of the drives?
Correct.
Is that including? Oh man, that's really strange.
Boo.
Okay, well then I guess I'll go on to Exhibit B, which is documentation of PTSD diagnoses. In the following documentation obtained by my therapist, Jessica Karsten, MALLCP at Wellspring Lutheran Services Behavioral Health Services of Gaylord, you will see written documentation diagnosing me with moderate to severe PTSD.
Did she say Gaylord or Gaylord?
Also in this, you will see the documentation diagnosing Aria Morrison with unspecified trauma and stress-related disorder. These diagnoses came after Aria and I experienced an event where a friend of ours was verbally abusive in the same way that Jesse used to often verbally abuse me. This man was very confrontational towards both me and my daughter Aria, and after experiencing his verbal abuse, I have noticed a huge spike in both mine and Aria's trauma. I believe this has a lot to do with PTSD. A lot of people experience something called delayed onset, which means that their PTSD traumas and triggers aren't really showing as much until an event triggers it. My PTSD felt like it went from a pretty manageable 2 to 3 flashbacks every now and again to me feeling paranoid that Jesse is around almost 24/7. I am always looking over my shoulder. Loud, abrupt sounds spook me, and I have night terrors on a frequent occurrence. At the same time, I have experienced my own symptoms of trauma from the abuse increase, and I've also watched Aria's become more persistent as well. She started recalling reoccurring nightmares that she only had at her dad's house that directly mimic the abuse that her and I went through. See Exhibit C for Aria's paintings that describe her nightmares, as well as recalling the abuse that she watched happen on a regular basis. Aria still had occasional bouts of anger where she takes it as far as attacking me in the same way that she would see Jesse attack me in the past.
Is mom in between her shifts at the restaurant? Why is she dressed like a server?
Your Honor, do you mind if I ask a quick question?
If she stands up and has an apron with napkins and straws, I'm done.
You can ask a question, sure.
So are you able to see the PowerPoint minus the videos in front of you? Or
I'm able to see the photographs that are part of the PowerPoint, yes.
But the videos don't play?
Correct.
Okay. Well, in Exhibit B, you will see on the left side is my PTSD diagnosis. In the middle is my trauma intake form that I filled out when I first started seeing them. And then on the right side, you will see the picture from Aria's therapist expressing her abuse as well. And we have been making a point to, since this bout happened, we've been making sure to see both of our therapists on a regular basis to try and work through these traumas. In Exhibit C, it says Aria's paintings about reoccurring nightmare. The following 2 pictures are illustrated. We strongly encourage painting and other forms of art that help with Aria's self-expression by Aria at 2 different times. These illustrations are pertaining to separate incidents, but they tie together, bringing us to the discovery about how serious Aria's trauma really is. We, Melissa, me, myself, Patrick, and Aria went to one of my friend's birthday parties. It was Aria's friend Titan's birthday party. At this party, Titan's mom's boyfriend, Jeff, yelled at Aria to be quiet when the kids were in a very playful mood so that his other son could sing a song. Upon him yelling at Aria, she ran away and hid behind a van to cry. Patrick and I walked around to find her, and she was scared.
A van down by the river to hide.
Crying and was asking Jeff to apologize.
Why is that so important that she has to say she hid behind a van? Not important. Not important.
To her.
Irrelevant.
I asked Jeff if he could come over and apologize to Aria and to help make her feel better. His yelling really, really upset her because of her past trauma with watching Jesse regularly mistreat me. And he just started yelling, well, this is the culture around here. If you don't like it, then you can get the F out. And so we immediately left. When we arrived at home that evening, Aria painted the picture at the bottom in the image below. In the image, she painted her and her imaginary friend Waffles. Aria has a deep love for cats, and she often depicts herself in her drawings as a cat, typically paired with her friend Waffles. I asked her to describe her painting to me, and she said her and Waffles were standing at the cat's mom's grave with flowers because the mom had just died in a house fire. She said herself, Waffles and Mom were trapped inside when the house caught fire, and Aria and Waffles got out looking back and saw Mom dying in the fire. I believe that she had painted the mom dying because I was the one that asked Jeff to apologize when he became very aggressive with me. We decided this was something that needed to be talked about, and when we talked to her we discovered she was having reoccurring nightmares of a black blob breaking down her door, slowly creeping towards her, and then swooping over her bed and killing her.
That's serious.
Video evidence of Aria recollecting the dream to us is added into the next slide for Exhibit C. She stressed to us that these dreams only ever happened when she was staying at her father, Jesse's house. The reoccurring dream very similarly depicts what we faced many times before with Jesse's abuse. He's broken down doors with Aria and myself hiding inside for safety multiple times before. Aria has even recollected this rage she witnessed to not only my parents, but Patrick as well. We asked her to draw a picture of what the black blob attacks her look like. And the image above in the picture on the next slide is what she produced for us. Directly following Aria telling us about the black blob, she started becoming extremely attached to me, and I was expressing how she was expressing about how afraid she was of this black blob and how it could come out of her dream and kill us all now that she's talking about it. This has caused her extreme separation anxiety to become much more worse as well. I have trouble using the restroom without her panicking because she will occasionally forget that I told her where I was going. I've spent a lot of time trying to calm her fears about this black blob that can kill us. And to this day, I still have troubles with her in this fear of this black blob. These events happening recently convinced me that Aria and I needed to attend regular therapy sessions in order to understand and heal from the years of abuse and the toll it has taken on both of our mental and our emotional well-being. In conclusion, with these sessions, we got diagnosed in Exhibit B. And then that shows the picture that she painted and the video that I guess you cannot see, which brings us to Exhibit D. In the following videos, you will see Aria Morrison recalling to my boyfriend, Patrick Dunlap, some of the abuse that she remembers from her father. At therapy, we have learned that the best way to get children to open up is to provide a fun and safe environment. For example, on this day, particularly, Patrick and Aria were on their way home from a long day playing at the park together. She recalls things like Jesse breaking my phone, punching holes in the wall, trying to hit me having to defend myself from him hurting me, her asking him to stop, him yelling no at her, and her having to go hide in fear from him that he may also hurt her. We have learned from therapy when these conversations happen to try and get a video or some kind of audio recording of her speaking about it so that we can show therapy and that they can get the exact instance and not just what we can remember. So anytime Aria starts recalling anything, it is instinct to try and document it. The abuse Aria and I went through in this house with Jesse is still haunting Aria because if she is with her dad, she's still in that same house that so much abuse has happened at. And we, along with her therapist, believe that that could be why she is still recalling those nightmares, specifically when she's at her father's house. And then that brings you to the video of her speaking to Patrick about the abuse, which would bring us to Exhibit E, which are pictures and videos of the abuse with Jesse. In this exhibit, you will see pictures of marks left on my body after multiple separate instances of abuse from Jesse. He would always disarm me of my phone so that I wasn't capable of recording evidence or calling friends or family to help. We lived in an environment where Jesse would often say, "The police never fix anything," and I feel like I was groomed over the years into many things, one of them being never call the police on him or calling them for any reason or anyone in general. He would often say things like, "I don't care what it is, someone could break into the house and we're going to handle it on our own." He doesn't like doctors, police, or family court. He very specifically stressed how important it is that we never do child support if and when we split. He had a horrible time dealing with child support with his other daughter and told me we would help each other with money if and when needed, which over time since we separated, he has failed to do so. With never using child support if we break up, being forced upon all the time, it gave me an irrational fear about going to the state for help, as I thought it would get me in trouble with him. I tried not long after leaving Jesse to get food assistance, and I was finishing my interview. They said I needed to file for child support in order to get the food assistance. Immediately, I was
They
filled with
lied.
fear of doing this because Jesse and what harm might come from it if I did. I had a panic attack and begged the worker to stop the paperwork, and I hung up. These fears he has instilled in me, and his constant refusal to help me with food has led me to miss out on opportunities that I needed to help Arya and myself. I have now found the power to defend myself again against him and not let him control me anymore. And I feel like a big part of that is now I have a good support group. And I feel like that is extremely important to note, that I finally have a good support group. In Exhibit E, it shows, these are all videos showing the abuse, from scratches left on my body to the big giant bruise that I had on my head because it was my first day of work, and I was hiding in the bathroom, and he beat the door down, and I was too close to the door, which made the door hit me in my face, and I had a big green bruise on my first day of work. I had no makeup to cover it, and it was really embarrassing for me to go in and have to lie to everybody at work that I ran into a wall. Continuing Exhibit E, it shows pictures of his abuse. I show pictures of sunglasses that he maliciously went out of his way to break. Jesse would regularly break things that meant a lot to me in this case. This is a pair of sunglasses that my late best friend Brittany gave me. I held these glasses very close to my heart as it was a gift from a friend who was no longer here with us. Jesse would oftentimes try to find things like this to break because he knew how deeply it would hurt me. This wasn't just sunglasses, it was items from my mother. It was planter pots Ari and I would get and paint together. It was my favorite pair of clothes that made me feel comfortable. He knew how much my plants meant to me, and so this was a frequent target for his destruction. He would often buy me plants after his abuse as a way to say sorry and love bomb me back into his heart. Anything that I loved was targeted in his rage and mental abuse. Which leads us to Exhibit F, which is our home life now. In the following pages, I'm going to show images showing the love, affection, and time I put into our home life for Arya. We love to spend time in the kitchen together, cooking fun meals and baking. I go out of my way to make meals fun to encourage a good, healthy, balanced diet. I do this by involving her in the process of preparing the food, and oftentimes take many steps to cut cute little shapes into the fruits and vegetables, and also to present the food to her in fun forms like happy faces, flowers, etc. This is wonderful bonding time between us, but it also gives her a knowledge of healthy eating habits, how to portion foods, and how to prepare and cook her food. Before bedtime every night, we make sure.
So you're being a mother, a good parent. Big deal. You want a medal? I do believe there was abuse, but I think she's a little too long-winded. I'm sorry. Great. You cut snacks into shapes. Congratulations. You're a parent.
That we have a routine of having a small snack, showering, brushing our teeth, and reading 2 to 3 books together. We try to focus the topics of the books around subjects like handling and understanding our very complex emotions in a healthy manner, positive self-expression, and other moral building materials. Aside from working hard to create an emotionally safe environment for her growth and maturity, we also spend a lot of time finding fun and creative ways to keeping her ahead of the class in her education. We challenge her capabilities in reading, writing, and math through fun activities, indoors and outdoors. We keep up with online educational programs through the summer months and on off days from school. These are all activities that I perform on a daily with Arya, and this quality time together is not something her and her father share very often. He most oftentimes will give her tablet to play and have access on.
Oh, Jesse's doesn't like this. Now it's getting personal. Watch Jesse's faces. You know,
check to the internet so that he can have his uninterrupted time with his video games that almost all of his free time gets invested into. It is concerning to me that he will choose a fast and easy meal like a bowl of pasta over making a more nutritious meal
irrelevant
for her than giving her her tablet and over reading and playing together, just so he can get back his game as fast as possible. In our home, we do not let the tablet raise Arya. And then I included several pictures of the different ways that I have gone out of my way over the years. This isn't just recent. This has been since Aria was born that I do fun pictures and stuff with her food so that she's more likely to eat it. I noticed that when we make fun shapes with the food, she's more likely to have a more balanced diet. Exhibit G is Patrick's impact on Aria. The amount of care and compassion both Aria and I receive from Patrick is insurmountable. I haven't had anyone in my life ever show care and understanding towards my emotions before like he does. Patrick goes out of his way, sometimes spending hours researching everything that he can do to understand the delicate nature of the life that Aria and myself now live. He is hyper aware of all the things that could trigger either myself or Aria and goes out of his way to make sure that we both feel as safe as possible. If the sound is too loud or if someone maybe rushes by us too abruptly, Patrick realizes our triggers and is there to help us through it before we even really have to reach out and ask him for comfort. This helps us feel safe in any environment, knowing that he is there and aware of us. Aria frequently says she is thankful to have Patrick here to keep us safe. I sincerely couldn't imagine getting through these extremely tough and heavy emotions as easily as we are without Patrick in our lives. Patrick goes out of his way every moment of the day, helping me cook, clean, and do everything for that matter. Patrick sets the bar as a textbook definition of the perfect way to deal with PTSD and trauma.
This is a live commentary show. If you don't like what we are doing, please just go. We're having fun. I'm not personally attacking her. It's two sides to every story. I personally think being abused and cutting friggin' shapes and pasta serving have nothing to do with one another. Sorry, little long-winded. You may not think so. But if someone cuts a joke that's not offending anyone, don't jump on them because we'll just throw you out of the chat. I'm not tiptoeing around people anymore. Sorry, it's my channel. There's plenty of other people over there that you could go to that are nice and burp, 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 burp. I like to have fun. That's it.
He meets us with love, respect, compassion, and gentle, affirming care at the blink of an eye and has become attuned with the signs that one of us is starting to struggle. Aside from the emotional safety Patrick provides us with, he also has helped me financially. Prior to him, I was struggling to feed Aria and myself. Jesse had promised to help me when I left with food and assistance until I was on my feet, and the assistance was very rare from him. With Patrick's income and flexibility with work hours, it's helped us live a higher quality of life. He spends lots of quality time with Aria, playing make-believe, going to the Parker Library, writing or illustrating their own books together.
There you go, Bill Rhodes. Can anyone tell me what the what the statutory limits are on not being served pasta? Bravo, Bill Rhodes. Bravo. He can leave on a high note if he wanted to. Bravo, Bill. But more are coming.
Reading, etc. Since Patrick has come, we do a lot more family-oriented activities than when we do a lot more family-oriented activities than we ever did when I was with Jesse.
I'm always the
because
jerk,
of Patrick's
Colin.
additional income
Always.
to mine, I'm able to take off more time from work, and I can now spend almost all of my time playing and caring for Aria. In the next slide, it shows pictures and explains like the different impacts that Patrick has with Aria. And this image shows Patrick and Aria at Alpenfest here in town. Patrick frequently goes out of his way to try and teach her new things and to make things exciting for her. In this picture, we are at the craft and activity tent where he is teaching her how to shoot the bow at targets. Aria and I both have a love for bread. Because of our love for bread, Patrick learned how to make healthier bread from scratch for us to enjoy. In this picture below, you can see Patrick explaining to Aria the technique behind kneading the dough before letting her finish the process. And then in the last image, we're working at FarmFest. In this image, you will see Patrick, Aria, and myself doing volunteer work in the kitchen at FarmFest. Aria was having such a blast taking the orders and hollering back to us what everybody needed. These hours of volunteer work in the kitchen were very cherished and wonderful memories for the three of us. And is regularly referenced by Aria in conversation when talking with friends. Which leads us into Exhibit H, my time with Aria and how we spend it. Quality bonding time with Aria is the most important focus point in my entire life. I have spent countless hours over the course of her life to teach her through large collection of home educational supplies and different crafts and activities I find in parent and homeschool groups to try and keep her ahead of the curve.
I'm missing the point here, but shouldn't we be focusing on more serious things? It's just, I think there's way more serious stuff here and getting to the root of the problem. You got Judge here playing Angry Birds, Monica said. I mean, you're losing us. Hello. Like, come on. And okay, great. You're with a new guy. Patrick's great. Irrelevant. Has nothing to do with it. Patrick's not the dad. Patrick's in your life. He could be gone tomorrow. So come on. Let's go. Jesse may be a douche, but he's here. He's here. I honestly think he definitely was high, drunk, beat on her. I get that vibe. I could be wrong. She could be exaggerating. That's my personal opinion. But I think all these other details are just way too much. That's why I wanted to play it, because I knew it was going to spark the chat. So bravo for me. Gold star for time.
In addition to the educational aspect, I tried to involve Aria in all the basic life necessities, such as proper hygiene, how to do laundry, dishes, sweeping, and how to manage money through chores that earn her allowance.
What?
She shows interest in some home improvement projects with Patrick and can regularly earn money that way as well. Aria is most comfortable when she's with me. I believe that through the abuse with Jesse, she has become very codependent on me. Aria will notice I have left the room and didn't tell her, and it will cause her to panic at times. Almost all the time, really. She is very reliant on the bond that her and I share. Growing up with Jesse, Aria has been forced to grow up a lot faster than other kids her age. And I make it an important task to break down very complex emotions with her and feel comfortable talking and expressing these emotions in order to help her have a better understanding of both ourselves and each other so that we can create healthy coping mechanisms together that work. I devote any free time that I have towards activities that bring Aria joy. And I feel like Jesse, I remember in our past, tried convincing me that depression wasn't even a real thing. And I feel like knowing that, it makes me feel a lot more comfortable knowing how much I break down emotions and feelings with Aria, because I can only imagine what she feels inside. Co-sleeping is something currently necessary for Aria. During my marriage.
So apparently, they got some of the video uploaded. I think they got a picture of Patrick, so we could actually put a name with a face with the name. So here, I think we found Patrick. Okay, so here's Patrick. Just so you guys get serious. All right, Patrick. So just so we know. Okay, thank you. All right.
With Jesse, he enforced her sleeping on her own, even though she strongly wanted to stay with me.
Thank you, sir. Much
her comfort
appreciated.
zone is in staying with me, which was her comfort zone in our war zone of a home. Aria will express that she doesn't feel safe at night if she cannot reach out and touch me and feel me for comfort. She's woken up in the middle of the night before and reached out to touch me, and she's facing the other way and will sit up panicking because she can't find me. Who can blame her either after witnessing the years of violence we had to endure with Jesse? I am extremely in tune with Aria's feelings and her nonverbal cues.
Yeah, Majestic. There you go. That is definitely a no-no. I've heard many judges say they do not want you sleeping in the bed. No.
As she is the same with me.
Never, Tasha.
She's a very
Never stop
sensitive
it.
and delicate little girl that needs a lot of love and reassurance that I know Jesse is incapable of providing. Even after she expressed to him her fear of sleeping alone, he still enforced a separate sleeping arrangement. I spend every moment of my life catering to her wants and needs and providing for her everything that she will need to succeed in this life. With this constant time and effort, we have formed a bond stronger than anything else. which will bring us more into my Exhibit H, which I brought a lot of photos. It says, we attended every single day of Alpenfest with Aria to ensure that she got the best experience that we could offer. This time included her performing in the Alpenfest Idol, riding rides with Patrick and I, and being in the bike parade, learning how to juggle and just dancing our hearts out. The next photo shows a picture of her with our cats in a pool next to our bed. We love to do fun and silly things as a family, like setting up a small pool in our bedroom for Aria and our new kittens that we adopted to play in. We encourage fun, silly things.
Look at Judge, he doesn't care.
And we try to let Aria pick what activities we do by asking her, well, does this make you happy? And as long as it doesn't pose a threat to our safety, then nothing is off limits, not even a pool beside our bed. In the next picture, you will see Aria and myself looking at bugs and flowers at FarmFest together. We are very, me and Patrick are very aware and in tune with how sensitive her needs are, like her being very easily overstimulated. And one of the ways that we care for her in her overstimulation and her needs like this, we bought her noise canceling headphones that she uses not just at this one instance, but she wears on like a regular day basis. Because they help her feel less anxiety and stress when there's so much going on in our lives. And in this last picture, it was taken by Patrick. You can see Aria and I standing next to a mullein plant known for its health benefits for respiratory system. Prior to this picture being taken, Patrick and I were talking about its benefits because of the smokes from the smoke from the fires in Canada. This picture was taken on one of our regular evening nature walks. We make sure that when we go on our nature walks, we are always learning, always doing fun things. In my next picture, it is showing Aria and I cooking together, which is something that we do very regularly, whether it's cooking dinner or baking desserts or something. In the next photo, there's two photos on here of me, how I do my fun little plates for them. We love to make our meals into adorable shapes. This one is a flower, and the one at the end is the Easter bunny breakfast that I've made.
All right, nauseating.
And then in the middle, it says young Aria and I cooking dinner together, showing that we've been doing this together since she was capable of helping. She was helping me in the kitchen as early as her being in my little child carrier. She's always helped me in the kitchen, which would lead us to Exhibit I, which is Aria's medical support and pink eye disaster, which is where I would like you to see Sean Gates' testimony. I woke up down in Grand Rapids on a week Jesse had Aria. My second night away, I woke up after a night with heavy nightmares in regards to Aria's safety and me not being able to protect her. I have a very powerful gut intuition and motherly instincts that nearly never lead me wrong. So when I woke up, I immediately knew something was wrong. I called Jesse inquiring about Aria and her safety. I mentioned my nightmare and how I had a gut feeling something was wrong with her. After asking several questions, I found out Aria had been feeling unwell, had not been feeling well for a few days now. He mentioned how her eyes were really bothering her, which immediately alarmed me and made me think that she could have pink eye. I asked him if she had pink eye, and he said he wasn't sure he was sure it wasn't pink eye because all of the other people in the house didn't have pink eye and Aria was all over them. I wasn't.
Who cares? Who cares? What does this have to do with anything? What is pink? Did Jesse give her pink eye? Like, what's going on? Why is this happening? I don't get it. Pink eye? Now conjunctivitis is it? I can't.
Convinced, and I asked Jesse to please take her into the walk-in to get checked out. Jesse met my request with pushback, saying he got her some drops from the dollar store, some eye drops from the dollar store. I begged, asking him several times to still please take her to the doctor, and I even offered making the appointment for him so that he didn't have to wait or do it himself. He kept refusing, and I tried telling him that treating pink eye with drops from the dollar store will not solve the problem. It may help relieve some of the symptoms, but it will not treat the infection, which is why we need doctors and antibiotics. I then asked if I could please talk to her so that I could try and console her, to which Jesse responded with telling me that Aria was not with him, that she was at home with Jesse's now girlfriend. There are two instances. Oh, wait.
I do think he's a jerk off, though. Let's get that straight. I do believe he's a jerk off.
Yeah, there are two instances where Jesse and myself differ drastically. If Aria shows signs of being sick, I would trust our medical system would help and provide the right care for her.
All right, I'm gonna jump to when her father comes on, just for the sake of time. Okay. I'm just gonna jump to where Jesse gets a little hot. Are you ready? Here we go.
Explaining a lot of things. One of them being delayed onset, which is when you have some symptoms of PTSD prior, like after you leave the abusive situation or whatever has caused your PTSD, you have some, what is it called? Some symptoms, but there's usually an instance that comes or something that happens that will bring that PTSD more to surface. And I very much so believe that when my daughter and I went to visit mine and Aria's friend, Tara and Titan and Jeff, when Jeff started yelling both at Tara, he was yelling obscenities, yelling about how stupid she is. It was very, very similar to the things that Aria and I would see Jesse yell at me. And it was after that day, and then after Jeff directly yelling at me and Aria, he asked my boyfriend, Patrick, hey, were Melissa and Aria in an abusive relationship? And he asked that because of Aria's, her reaction to this man just being like, hey,
Okay,
hold on.
man.
All right, here we
All
go.
right. And then when you moved out, where did you go to live at?
I moved in with my friend, Amanda Dees, which
Now that should have just been the end of it. I moved in with Amanda Dees. Done. Next. Okay. We don't need long-winded. Look, pages. She had pages. Okay, here we go. All right, here's Dad. Dad is awfully red, by the way. Dad's very red.
And if you have other witnesses who are going to testify, they cannot be within earshot of what's going on, nor can they watch what is going on.
Okay. So you would like me to make sure that I am just with my father, Mark Shirley, for this testimony?
Well, absolutely. There should not be any other witnesses around, correct?
Okay, let me turn my sound up. And Dad, if you could, would you like me in the shot with him or him by himself?
Either way, if you can fit, if not, it could be just him. All right, good afternoon, Mr. Shirley. Would you please raise your right hand? You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, Bill.
I do.
All right, Ms. Morrison, you may proceed with questions for this witness. Ms. Morrison, this is your witness, so you have to ask the witness questions.
Oh, me? I'm sorry, my phone sound isn't very loud. You said Melissa Morrison has to ask him questions?
You're calling him as a witness, so you have to ask him questions.
Okay. Do you mind please recalling your, to your knowledge, remember everything that happened that day? Can you please tell the courts?
The specific day was when my wife and I received a phone call from Melissa saying, please come and get me. It's terrible. So we drove over there, maybe a 10-minute drive. And when we pulled up, Jesse was at the top of the stairs. Melissa was at the bottom of the stairs. Alex got out. And from there, Melissa ended up putting Aria in the back of the car. I stayed in the car because I had a really bad headache.
Now we know where she gets her details from.
Anyway, from there, between Melissa, Alexandra, and Jesse, they were having major conversations and about the stuff that took place. And with that, I just said, hey, Aria, everything's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Well, Jesse had come down the stairs, walked over to my window, and commenced to trying to convince Aria that everything's okay. And it's okay. It's okay. It was, I could obviously tell that he was drunk. And just by the way he was slurring his words, he kept on grabbing the mirror and miss it. But anyway, I'm just like, hey, you need to get away from her. Just leave her alone for right now. We'll get this thing worked out later. And he just kept doing it. And then finally he did break away and went back. And of course, the arguments continued with Alexandra and Melissa. It was about the time that he was walking back downstairs to confront myself and Aria again, is when Aria had expressed to me, Opa, will you please protect me from my dad? That's the saddest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, to come from such a young girl.
That's rough. That's rough.
5 years
when
old.
You read through all this.
And yeah.
When you read through all the details, it is sad. But, they make it miserable for us.
It just tore me apart. From there, I just continued to tell Jesse, you need to back away and just go back upstairs, That night, Melissa and Aria came to my house and stayed the night. Next day, we go back. Because he was supposed to go someplace. He wasn't, she had locked the doors. Well, we got there, sure enough, the guy's inside. And they started arguing, how'd you get in? Tell me, did you break in or what? And he wouldn't give it up. So of course, Melissa felt unsafe once again. And I was at the bottom of this, or actually I was by the car where Aria was at, and Alexandra and Melissa were up there, and they eventually went in and they were grabbing stuff. That was when my wife took some photos of the broken stove and also a video of the broken stove. There was a video of me talking to him when he was up on the balcony. And from there, he had said something, I can't recall what it is. What, am I just supposed to let her hit me? And I'm like, yes, you walk away. You walk away from it. Same thing happened to me. Of course.
Did you see Jesse?
He had struck her or hit me. And I'm like, yes, you walk away. You walk away from it. Same thing.
That sums it up.
Happened to me. Of course, he had struck her and then she was defending herself. And she said that in that video to him. I was defending myself. You got to be kidding me. And da-da-da-da. It was just a lot of bad stuff being tossed around back and forth, sir. And so, yeah, he admitted that he had done it to us by saying what, or I'm sorry. I'm kind of nervous about this. I apologize. Anyway, that wasn't the only time. There was numerous other times where
somebody borrowed Judge DeSanto's chair.
She had expressed that he was being violent with her or what have you. He needs to stop drinking because then all of this will go away, and really never did from what I had seen. I don't know about the extracurricular drug abuse because I really didn't want anything to do with him, nor did my wife, because he was abusing my daughter. He was abusing my daughter in front of my granddaughter, and I just didn't want anything with him.
So, sir, the incident you kind of just talked about, was that from July of 2022? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes,
right,
sir.
Ms. Morrison, your next question.
Can you possibly
Tomorrow's live, Sherelle.
tell the courts, have there been multiple instances of me talking to you about the abuse to him, like while I was with him?
Yes, and the reason why, I'm speaking for myself, I think my wife will feel the same. It was just such a, I guess for lack of better terms, toxic relationship between us and them. And so with that, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Do you mind telling, do you
yeah,
remember me coming to tell you
yeah,
more than one time?
Numerous times. She did call us. She, asked me to come pick her up immediately. And even at I think it was 12 at night or 11, 12 at night. I jumped in the car, was halfway there, and she called me back and said, "No, Dad, it's okay. I'm good. I'm good." Come to find out, it was never good. I didn't know the severity of the abuse, and I didn't know exactly how much she had changed my daughter by his actions and his, I guess, I don't know. It's hard for me to explain. I just know that she wasn't the same person that I knew before. And now that she's gotten away from him, it was kind of a breath of fresh air, because she's back to the daughter that we left Hawaii 8 years ago. So I think that factor of him being out, she's still touchy. I grabbed her arm joking in the car, and she freaks out and tells me not to do it. And I guess that happens a lot. That's about it.
And then can you also, oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor, may I ask one last question for him?
Yes.
Okay, my last question for him would be, can you please tell the court about his home when you just recently saw it, when you served him his PPO?
Yeah,
about the condition?
I went there. I picked up a piece of my property that was on their porch, but of course
See you
I
later,
asked
Kim.
if I can grab it, and then I knocked, I think 2 or 3 times, and then it was the 4th time where I really knocked on it pretty good, and then he finally came down. "Dude, what's up? Hey," and the look of surprise on his face.
Because if you think we're sitting here laughing about abuse, you have more problems than us.
Anyway, when I looked inside that house, I was absolutely stunned. There was piles and piles of stuff. He had to step over something just to get to the front door.
Arm Bears, she wants full custody.
And I don't think seeing that, I don't think it's conducive for my granddaughter to be in that type of environment. It's not safe for her.
Thank you.
Let alone all the other people and all the other issues. Like cigarettes, I smelled cigarettes coming from his place, and yeah, I just don't see it. I honestly don't. It was unbelievable how trashed it was inside that house, sir. And I had never seen it like that before.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions, Ms. Morrison?
Not for my father, no.
All right.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Morrison,
sir.
do you have,
Oh,
hold
thank
on.
God.
Mr. Morrison,
Oh,
do you have
yeah,
any
yeah.
questions?
Yes.
I gotta see if Mr. Morrison has any questions.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
What's up?
So,
Yes.
did my house, when you showed up here, was I threatening at all in any way, shape, or form?
No, but I've seen that for how many years?
Well-
For what, 6, 7 years, where you do that passive aggressive stuff. And then of course, the fact that you were saying, why is she doing this? She doesn't have to do this. I'm like, dude, you beat my daughter. No, I didn't. You completely played it down, downplayed it. And I have you on tape saying that you did it.
Well, the thing is, you admitted yourself why that she hit me, and I struck back. Yes. Now,
No. Absolutely not. You hit her first and she defended herself. That's exactly what the testimony was.
well, you
You have to look at the video, dude.
love to see the video, because I would like to see the person that I'm not anymore, because that's not me.
Your Honor,
All
may
right,
I
hold
say-
on. Everybody, hold on. Mr. Morrison, you have to ask questions. It needs to be a question and answer situation, not a back and forth discussion. So what's your next question, Mr. Morrison?
Does your
Thank you,
daughter
Lucky.
have a history of mental health problems before me?
Yeah. And she was seeing counselors for it.
All right. Did you take me into the garage before her and I started dating and tell me that she's not normal? And are you sure you want to do this along the lines of her mental stability?
Honestly, I do not remember that conversation.
Okay, that's fine.
And the reason why I don't is because my head is kind of messed up and I forget
And it looks like a bullet.
sometimes. Honestly, if I said it, I said it, but I honestly do not remember saying that.
Do you blame me for, or do you understand that? How do I word this?
Do I look like Captain Jack Sparrow?
Is it hard to see that possibly, maybe I'm not the only one in the wrong here? Is it completely obvious to you that it's all my fault?
No, it always takes two to tango. But
Ah.
from everything that I know, from everything that I've seen through the years, it does land on you.
Well,
You two were both doing stuff you probably shouldn't have been doing. I got it. But
Oh.
when you start abusing my daughter, it is your fault.
Honestly, if I thought for a second someone's beating my daughter, we wouldn't be in court. Sorry. This would have been over a long time ago.
That's what she told you. That's fine. All right. Well,
that's what you admitted to on the video.
Striking back, yes, but that's not a question.
No. You stroked her.
All right, hold
and she
on,
fought
hold
back.
on, Mr. Shirley, you gotta wait for
Yes,
Mr. Morrison's next question.
Yes, sir.
Did I not ask you and Alex for help with Melissa multiple times over the years of us being married because I don't know what to do?
That was one time. One time.
One time that you remember. Okay. So that's on the record then. I have asked for help from you guys because I don't know what to do with her, because I don't know how to handle this situation. I'm sorry, that wasn't a question. I apologize. I retract my statement. Can you see how this could be a witch hunt?
I honestly don't.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, you've had what, 6-7 years to convince me otherwise, and you failed. So yeah, that's, for me, it's a no-go, bud.
How did I fail to convince you of anything? Because of what your daughter told me. I would give anything to have a relationship with my daughter again, so I don't blame you for taking them in full force.
That absolutely has nothing to do with the fact of her wanting sole custody and stuff like that. That has nothing to do with it.
Are you aware?
My feelings or Alex's feelings or my son's feelings have absolutely nothing to do with it, Jesse.
Well, they do have a little part, but that's not, I'm not sorry. Okay. Well, no more for now, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Morrison, who is your next witness?
I would like to please call Sean Gates forward. Are you also, I will go grab Sean right now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
All right, please state your name for the record.
My legal name is Sean Jamison Gates Hott.
All right, thank you. Ms. Morrison, you may begin.
Sean, can you please explain to the court why I had called you frantically a couple months ago in order to pick me up, please?
I was getting a call around noonish, 1 o'clock while I was at work, and she was upset, couldn't find a ride back home, and I asked why, and she told me about Aria, and something was wrong and didn't know what, but needed to get home. So I made a determination that after work immediately I was going to go pick her up and bring her back home.
And just so that is known for the courts, do you remember what came from this? Like, what the doctors concluded?
Oh, there was on a conclusion that she had indeed had pink eye in one of her eyes and was spreading to the other eye. And being an EMT, I know the seriousness of that matter.
Are you also able to can you please also, I guess, attest to the courts to how my parenting was over the time that you have known me?
Since I have known her, I want to say early December last year, her parenting skills are amazing. I allow my daughter to be around and to hang out with her and Aria. And that's not something I trust a lot of people with my child.
That would conclude my questions, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Morrison, do you have any questions for this witness?
No, I don't know him, Your Honor.
All right. Sir, when did this happen that you were called to help out and pick up Miss Morrison?
I'm not sure of the exact day. I just remember it was around noonish, 1 o'clock. This was just after lunch.
Well, was it in 2023, 2022? What year was it?
2023.
All right. And do you remember what month it was?
No, I do not.
All right. Was it in the winter or was it in the summer or the spring?
There wasn't snow on the ground, so early spring.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to leave you on a cliffhanger. So now we have two cases that we are going to have follow up on. I do have the Karen with the tape measure part 2, the revenge. That's going to be for our next live. If you haven't watched that, go back to my archives. You're going to find that video. It was my last live before this one. So if you go to the live section, and also maybe if one of my mods want to pop the link in, maybe in the description. Actually, I'll put the description. I'll put the video in the description, so then you guys could catch up if you haven't. Get caught up if you haven't. It's been great. I will be live a lot more frequent as my school year settles in. I appreciate you being patient. We are on our way to 30K, people. Just passing everybody, leaving dust in our tracks. Thank you for everything. God bless everyone. Never go to bed angry with your loved ones. Say I love you before you go to bed. God bless. Have a good night. I'm Time, and you have been served.